Hello, ladies. Video is starting, it looks like here. Hi, ladies. I am so glad to be here. I am just doing a little checky check on the technology, making sure everything's working. All right, so I am super excited about today because I'm going to introduce you to a concept that kind of blew my socks off and created some self awareness for me that was, I hate to say life changing, but I kind of think it is life changing. So I'm hoping to introduce this to all of you because I think it makes sense for us midlife women who are thinking about a career change. And I just want to give a plug to Gay Hendricks because there were a lot of concepts in here that I'm bringing forward in my talk today. And we're going to be talking about our upper limits and our zone of genius primarily. And so you can see like all my highlights and writing. It's good stuff. So I would recommend this book. Um, so, did you know that each one of us has an upper limit on embracing abundance? Embracing abundance in our life, in all aspects of our life. And this upper limit was designed based on, not designed, created over the years of programming, primarily in childhood. So, childhood experiences with family members, teachers, friends, etc., impacted our ability and our limits for embracing abundance in our life. So, we're going to dig in more, but just be thinking about that piece before we get too far along here. So, think about what it means to you. All right, so what does this mean? Abundance and upper limits. So, this can relate to all aspects of our life from our relationships, abundance in relationships, finances, careers, our expression of ourselves. What stories do we tell ourselves? This upper limit often comes into play when it feels like things are getting too good in our lives. And we need to knock a few things down to get back to our personal normal threshold for good. Otherwise, it's too much. So, I'm going to give a couple examples. So, one example might be entering into a new relationship where this person is just showering you with love. And it surpasses any level of love you were given as a child or beyond. You don't know what to do with this level of love the person is pouring on you. It may start to feel suffocating for you over time because you don't feel worthy. This isn't your normal. No one showed you this capacity and this level of love when you were growing up. So what do? If you are if your upper limit is getting in the way, you might critique it. Like, what's wrong with them that they would show this much expression of love? You might worry about it. Like, this isn't going to last. There's no way. This doesn't even make sense. Deflect it. You might even sabotage it. Another example, finances. Think about the stories you've heard of lottery winners who have lost everything. So let's just say finances, you've come into an allotment of money, whether it be inheritance, lottery, stock market, gains, etc. So you've never experienced this before and it feels too good to be true. Someone like you doesn't deserve this because you grew up without throughout your childhood. Your entire family system doesn't have money like this. It feels too much. And so for some, they begin to worry, worry about the money, feel guilty about the money, possibly take steps to bring them back to their normal. Maybe they blow it on gambling or make purchases beyond their means. Their internal thermostat is trying to get them back to their normal. Okay, so when we are exceeding our glass ceiling worth of good, our threshold for good, we might just manufacture something bad to bring it back down to our normal where we're comfortable. Thoughts of worry, critique, blame. deflection. We are not used to feeling such a positive feeling for an extended period of time because we reached our limit of feeling positive. We can manufacture something negative to offset it. So we return to a state of familiar, of not feeling as good. We may do something that stops the positive trajectory, get into conflict with someone, create a money bind, something to bring us back down within the bounds of our limited tolerance for abundance. Is this hitting home? It just blew my mind away when I was listening to this, and I wanted to challenge it and say, this can't be true. We all want abundance. But the more I thought about it and the more I researched, the more truth I found, because as humans, we've grown accustomed to pain and adversity. Oh, the struggles we have seen. We know how to feel bad. We have millions of nerve connections that are devoted just to registering pain. And we definitely have a solid ability to feel fear. But here's a question. What is our ability to allow ourselves to feel good and to have things go amazingly well all the time? Curious what comes to mind for you as having this as a possibility in your life. To feel good and have things go amazingly well all the time. It would be natural to question this possibility, because as humans, we generally don't spend our time purposely building on our ability to feel more and more positive energy. There could also be an underlying fear of actually reaching our full potential. Whew. So ladies, our basic premise here is this. When we exceed our internal thermostat for good, we can sometimes do things to sabotage ourselves so we get back to our normal in a familiar zone where we feel secure. So just take that in. Now, the reason I introduced this concept is because this could also be what keeps you from living and working in your zone of genius. And Gay, in his book, actually differentiates zone of excellence from zone of genius. And I'm going to get into that because it's really interesting. So he talks about 4 different zones. The first zone is zone of incompetence. This is something we're not good at. For me, it's technology. So it's a space where when we do things in that space, we're not good at it. We don't feel good about it. There could be the next level, is zone of competence. So this is where we can do something, but a lot of other people can too. It doesn't really differentiate us. The next level is our zone of excellence. And while we are working more in alignment with our natural gifts, and we do things extremely well here, our addiction to comfort wants us to stay there and not reach our zone of genius, which is the next level, where we are willing to take a leap into what makes us uniquely us. And Gay calls this the deep sacred part of ourselves that will wither and die if we stay in our zone of excellence and not in our zone of genius. How will your upper limit problem keep you from your zone of genius? And has it? Well, there are actually 4 categories of hidden barriers that are based entirely on our fears and false limiting beliefs. And again, these all build up over time, starting in our childhood. For the sake of time, I'm only going to talk about one category of those hidden barriers, so to create some relatability to this concept. So the one that I actually could most relate to was called feeling fundamentally flawed. So it's based on a false belief that I may have developed in my youth. Maybe you can relate to this one, of feeling fundamentally flawed, not good enough. So, what can happen? As an example, when feeling fundamentally flawed, you're going to likely hold yourself back from reaching your zone of genius as a protective measure. Protecting yourself from what you perceive is a predictable failure because you're flawed. So, why would I reach for that? So, you might be asking yourself, how can I spot my own upper limits? So, I'm going to share some pro tips so that when these things are happening in your life, a little light bulb can go up. Just a little light bulb to say, am I upper limiting myself right now? Am I inserting something in my life right now to keep myself from this abundance? Okay, here's just a few. And if you read this book, there's more. So, one is criticizing or blaming. So, you're criticizing someone or a situation or blaming them because you're trying to stop the flow of positive energy. It's too much, it's too good. So, you're going to criticize. Let's say someone is showering you with love and buying you gifts and it's too much, and so you criticize them. You got to stop all that positive stuff coming through. It's too much. My threshold isn't up here. My threshold is down here. You may deflect. Oh my God, I'm so good at this one. Not something to brag about. But deflecting, it keeps any positive energy from landing, right? Like, let's say someone is talking to me about my career and maybe something I've done that they see as successful, and they're telling me, wow, Dawn, you did X, Y, and Z. That's amazing. You're really good at that. And I'm like, oh, well. And I deflect. I'm not taking it on. Why? Years of programming. That's too much. I can't handle being way up here. I'm down here. That level of abundance, of feeling that level of success isn't for me. I'm down here. So I deflect. Maybe you start a conflict, an argument. Talk about bringing the energy down. Maybe you don't keep agreements. You're protecting yourself. If I go too far with that, what I said I was going to do, then I'm going to have to do it. And then what if I fail? Again, these are all self-sabotaging behaviors that we might initiate as a protective measure because it feels too good. So ladies, if you can get on board with the fact that we all have an upper limit problem, that's the first step. And I hope I've shared enough with you that either A, you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I see that, because we're all human, by the way, or B, that you're willing to grab this book to dig into it. So next is expanding our capacity for abundance and committing to knowing and living in our zone of genius. So I created an exercise, and it's based on this upper limit concept. And I designed it so that you can begin to explore where you're at as it relates to your career and what your life could look like if you expanded your capacity for abundance in your career. Now, I'm focusing on careers because that's what I do for with the women I work with. But please know you can take this exact exercise and apply it to all areas of your life, from your relationships. You may even pick one relationship, a spouse, a child, coworker, your finances, your expression of self, whatever it is. Feel free to apply this and really explore and look at your own upper limits. Okay, so upper limits as it relates to your career. Grab a piece of paper and pen. If you're watching the replay, feel free to pause, start up again. You might need some time to think for this one, okay? I know I did. So I want you to begin thinking about your current threshold for abundance in your career. For simplicity's sake, let's throw some numbers on it. And let's say a 0 to 100%, with 100% being maximum career abundance. And a reminder, as you're doing this exercise, just be honest with yourself. This is you doing this for you. There's no right or wrong answers. Okay, ladies? So, as you think of your career, how open would you be to expansive and abundant success in your career? 50%? 90%? 10%? And when I say abundance, let's think about it from this standpoint. For alignment in a career that aligns with your strengths, your values, your passion, your purpose. So, what's your willingness to be in a career that aligns with all the things that makes you you? If I were to say, I have a magic wand and I'm going to give you all these things, what's your capacity for accepting that? Your dream career. How open are you to this possibility for yourself? Now, what is coming up in your thought life that may hold you back from feeling like you deserve it? I'm guessing you had some thoughts come up. What did they look like? Did they look like, oh, that sounds really exciting, Dawn, and yeah, I'm at 100, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. No one else in my family ever had that. My parents certainly didn't. My spouse doesn't. I never have. So realistically, this isn't possible. So did any of that happen? Or maybe you thought, I'm flawed. There's no way that could happen for me. Or I don't deserve that. Other people deserve that. I don't deserve that. What fears do you have that are coming up? What faults or limiting beliefs are coming up that might hold you back from desiring this for yourself? Fearing failure? That if I had that, what if I failed? Like, what if I had everything I wanted in a career and all the things, and then I failed? What comes up for you? And this might not feel good. But if we don't dig in, can't do anything about it, right? Okay, the next step. In your own words, I want you to describe what your life would look like with full abundance in your career. You have the perfect career for you, where you are working in your zone of genius. You got it all. You're working with your strengths, your core values, your passion, your purpose, like it's all there. And you recognize that you deserve every bit of it. You're in it and you deserve it. Describe how life would look like for you and then for those around you. What does your day-to-day look like? How do you feel? How is your well-being? What's your mental well-being look like? Do you have work-life balance? And what does that look like for you? What's your physical well-being? Are you finally also committed to your health? How about your emotional well-being? You navigating stress well? And finally, what do your relationships look like? You're in full abundance in your career, and you deserve it, and you know you deserve it. What do your relationships look like, professionally and personally, when you're working in full abundance in your career? Okay, ladies. So, I hope this session provided you with some new insights on how our brains can trick us with false beliefs and also provided you with some steps that you can take towards overcoming them. I also hope you leave feeling inspired to dig deeper into your own zone of genius and to know that you deserve to be there. So I'm going to be sharing some additional exercises via chat in our Facebook group in the coming days. And I want you to reflect on those exercises as well. Take them aside, work through them on your own time. Because these really are meant to help you uncover your zone of genius. Because I want this for you, ladies. I want it for me and I want it for all of you. So as always, I'm here to support you in this process. And I've built an entire program for women just like you to discover and reach their own zone of genius. So if this was helpful to you and you want more, or if you just want to jump on a call, just reach out. Feel free to DM me. Go on my website, dawnlaraycoaching.com, hit connect with me, and let's just get on the phone together and talk through it and see if what I have can help serve you. So ladies, once again, wonderful spending time with you this beautiful Friday, and I hope you all have a beautiful weekend and can remember it's never too late. Goodbye, ladies.